All right, let's get into this. I need to get some things off my chest. And I can't do it on my TikTok, Astrology Universe, TM, go follow me there. And I can't do it on my Instagram, at least not yet. I don't have a big enough platform. You cannot do intuitive astrology. It's not possible. These last couple of days, I have been blowing up on TikTok because I decided to let the leash loose and talk about actual fucking astrology. So since I decided to let the leash loose, I am now able to speak my mind. I went down and broke into some of the dumbest things astrologers today agree with, but they'd have no way to prove. And lo and behold, when I stopped being nice, bent more critical, that's when I got a video that went up to about, it should be about 94K views right now. Got me an extra like 2,000, no, 3,200 followers off that one video alone. Off that one video alone. And the reason why I'm mean and so cruel or so strict, if anybody follows me from over there, is because I care about getting actual astrology done. There are so many idiots online that just use astrology for clout. It's literally annoying how you're going to use this science as a way for you to make friends online or as a way for you could do whatever you want. I didn't start off with astrology. For anybody who knows me, I started off with motivational talks. I started off with doing what I considered to be the right thing. I started off with numerology, tarot, all the spiritual sciences. I didn't start off with astrology. It was probably the third or fourth thing I found. I am the type of person, I don't care what system it is. If it works, I'm gonna use it. And if I find one system that can do everything that the other system I just learned can do and more, why am I gonna stick to that old system? Why not work on this one that lets me do more? So when I come online and I see astrologers on the internet making posts, doing tarot, doing all this quote unquote spiritual work, and I'm listening to their readings, I'm still coming up learning as an astrologist. I'm listening to their fucking readings. And I'm taking it to heart. I'm doing every ritual. I'm at every new moon ceremony. I'm at all of these things. They pull out a tarot card for Gemini this week. Gemini, this should be a good week for love or da 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 da. I go run up that week. I don't find a single thing. Every potential relationship I'm looking for doesn't come true. The next 2, 3, 4 weeks, oh, Gemini, you're having a bad time, you're having a bad time. You could watch a different tarot reading. They might say this week, Gemini, is going to be good for you. Other one might say it's bad for you. It's not consistent. It's not consistent against the board. Why are you using it? It's not a consistent fucking method to go about doing shit. So I was always skeptical when it came to tarot, and I said this wasn't enough. Then I started learning gematria based on Jewish Kabbalah, letters, numbers, and words. I started to see that that system was doing a little bit better. That system was doing a little bit better. The person who was using it was able to use it to predict sporting events, predict the outcome of games, predict certain things happening in the news. So I'm thinking this system might be the one I want to subscribe to. Even he didn't have it all the way down. Even he didn't have it all the way down. Even he would say some skeptical ass shit from time to time. And when I would try to question him on it, being like, can you use this and apply it to another asset of your life? If I take the same core basic principle that you're using and I try to apply it to something else, shouldn't it work for me? He's like, nah, don't do that. He's like, don't do that. Why are you putting a limitation on science? Why are you putting a limitation on how things get done? If you have a methodology that is consistent, working, and trackable, if it applies to what you're using it for, why wouldn't you go try to see if it works for something else? Then I got into astrology. Then I started to really get into astrology. And then I started to realize when I was doing it, this science is really good. It actually works. When I put in my birth chart information, it's able to tell me so much about my life. And I had to ask myself, how in the absolute hell does this online website know anything about me? Was there some person on the internet who's spying on me? Is there some detective going out gathering data on people's lives? How are the heavens, stars in the sky, planets being able to predict my life? Tell me about my emotional state. My emotional state is mine. My emotional state is something that I've worked on my entire life, that I've developed to be me, myself, as the unique person I am. That's what they're going to tell you if you read all the self-help books. That's what they're going to tell you if you read all of the manifestation books, right? That shit was bullshit. All that shit is bullshit. It's bullshit. And it's bullshit because you can't do that in real life. Self-help books like this, only apply with certain rules and laws in place. You can only make your life better by changing your mind and eating better, living a better diet, having a better routine to make money, to become an athlete, to become famous, whatever you want to be in that regard. Try to use your mind, your mind and your power to fly. Take your physical body and levitate off the ground right now. Start flying. Use your mind to bring everybody in your life who has died before, bring them all back to life. Use your mind in a way, certain way or fashion to make sure that there's world peace. Everybody can get along. Nobody hates each other anymore. Make everybody in the world agree with you just off the power of your mind. Not possible. Bullshit. Bullshit. And I would go into communities. And see the fucking rhetoric in the spiritual community, in the conscious community. You either have conspiracy theorists debating flat earth, Anunnaki, aliens, all of that dumb shit. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've read it all. I've been through it all. It's bullshit. There's no facts. There's no proofs. You can't share the experience with me. I am breathing air right here, right now. So are you. I can prove to you air exists. You can't prove a fucking Anunnaki to me. Bring an Anunnaki down right here. Show one to me. You can't do it. But you will have communities online of just fucking idiots that just want to do and believe whatever the fuck they want to believe. They don't give a fuck about actually doing something that will better their knowledge or coming to the actual truth of how the universe works. They don't give a fuck about putting in the work to do that. If it appeals to them, they're gonna do it. If it appeals to them, they're gonna do it. That's fine. That is fine. That's not where I have a problem. If you want to be a fucking idiot, be an idiot. That's fine. But it is when you are someone in the group who questions, who questions why the fuck they do what they do, bring up a counterpoint, explain something else that could work as well, they fucking attack you like hound dogs. They fucking attack you like hound dogs. If they came out the way, if you went into these communities and they said for a fact, you know what? We don't believe that over here, but hey, power to you, go figure it out. Do the best you're gonna do. I would have no problem. But I have to be a dickhead online. Because anytime I bring up a new idea, some motherfucker has to come out the woodwork and try to challenge me to fucking push their paradigm on me that their one and only way to see reality is correct. Their one and only way and method of doing things is correct. They have to go out their way to push to a motherfucker that their system is right and the other person's system is wrong. If my system is right, therefore yours must be wrong. Fuck that bullshit. Your ass can be right. My ass can be right. There is no reason why you could be right, therefore I must be wrong. Or I could be right, therefore you can be wrong. There are instances where motherfuckers are right versus when motherfuckers are wrong. You know when that is? When you both meet in the middle and put in time, effort, energy, and practice to go prove if what that other person say or does is true or not. I already told you gematria to a certain extent isn't bullshit. Isn't bullshit. I've seen it work. I've seen people make it work. And I tell people, go check out gematria if you want. But if you tell a motherfucker who does gematria, hey, can I use it this way instead or let's do it somewhere else instead? They're gonna fucking scream at you. They're gonna hound at you, tell you you're wrong. I don't do that shit. I give somebody credit where credit is due. They won't even go out their way to go test what you are doing to make sure that is right. They will immediately say and do anything to say, oh, I've tested that system before and da 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 da, it didn't work. Shut the fuck up. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But now let's get into the astrology community. I'm not talking about these other sciences. Anything you could talk about, magic, kundalini, all of that stuff. These are all specific branches and fields that can work. That can work. But majority of people in every single last one of these fields can't do shit because they haven't put in the time, effort, and energy to actually test this system in rigor to see if it works. They haven't done it. And I'm telling you, tarot is bullshit. It's bullshit. Tarot is bullshit. It's bullshit. You can get a correct tarot reading from this one person. It's not guaranteed to be the same way the next time. You can get a tarot reading this time from this one person. Go to another reading from a different tarot reader. Why are they giving you a different reading? Why are you getting a different reading? Why are you getting a different reading? It's not consistent. It's not consistent. It's not consistent. And you cannot use tarot to predict events. And let me say it this way too. If anything happens in your life, let me talk about magic real quick, right? You might see online a person say, I lit a candle, did a ritual, I made $50,000. Okay, I believe you. The money went into your account. You did a ritual. You made $50,000. Okay, do it again. Do it again. You can't do it. You are quick, or these magic users are quick to go online and said, I did this ritual and I got this result. Do this exact same ritual and you're gonna get the same result as me. But you yourself can't replicate it again. You can't do that every day. That's impossible. You can't do that every day. You can't use tarot to do that. You could use tarot to give a general last reading. Say, today you're gonna have a happy time, good experience. Your lover might make you angry. Even little shit like that, that is the easiest shit to get away from. You don't need to be a fucking tarot reader. You could be a counselor and tell somebody that shit. I can go to a fucking guidance counselor. I can go to a marriage counselor to get that information. I didn't need your fucking tarot cards. I need your tarot cards to do that. And even then, I'm telling you from personal experience, I've gone out when people have told me, this should be a good time to find love today, or you're breaking into a new da 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 da, and none of that shit happened. And I would watch these, and this is not some shit I'm saying that I did one or two times. I would watch these astrologers who also did tarot, multiple of them, for months to years. I would be at work sometime. I'd literally stop paying attention to my job and listen to 3, 4 hour interviews, astrology reading calls, group events that I paid for on a daily basis for months. I'm not talking about I got 1, 2 readings and I didn't get shit. I tested this. I'm talking tested this. Not consistent. But let me tell you something about this. If you really know how to do astrology, let's say you that magic user I was talking about earlier, that did that magic ritual, you asked your ancestors, you pulled some cards, you lit a candle, whatever, and you made that money, you made that thing. Because it has happened before, right? If I look into your birth chart, I will find on that exact day an aspect that showed you that you were going to make money that day, or you had the potential to make money that day. I can show you every single day, every single month for the rest of your life where you're gonna have an opportunity to make some kind of income like that again. And I can tell you the days where if you will try it, the actual reverse may happen. That's called consistency. That's called accuracy. That's called a actual proven system. You can't replicate your shit. My system, actual astrology, allows me to tell you, allows me to see in your chart the day, the hour, when you got that success. It would pop up in your birth chart already. It would pop up in your progression chart. It would pop up in the transiting chart for the day. If you remember and you tell me the exact day it happened, it's going to show up in your chart for that day, clear as day, and I can show it to you. And that same thing that you are promoting for other people to do, that already has to be in your chart. There are certain people, depending on when you are born, you don't have placements for that. There will be little to no opportunity across your entire life to ever get a situation like that. You understand this, right? But let's talk about these other astrologers now. Because I got to get it out of my chest so I can make another video where I'm nicer, where I'm not as much as a dickhead calling out these fucking idiots who don't know shit and love to attack people to protect their paradigm. Let me say this right here, right now. There are a lot of good people with a lot of good hearts in the entire world and in astrology, or claim to practice astrology. Just because you have a good heart doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're doing. Just because you mean well doesn't mean you actually know what the fuck is going on. A child could run into their mother's drawer, pull out their brand new lipstick, and use it to make a paint coloring and give it to their mom as a present. Did the child mean well? Yes. Did that child just fuck up your makeup? Yeah. Yeah, that child did that too. It works the exact same way with these so-called astrologers. Did they mean well in their approach to try to give you a reading? Yeah, they did. Did they end up bastardizing the science? They ended up doing that too. They ended up doing that too. You cannot intuit astrology. Let me break this down to you. Your brain is more powerful than any supercomputer, AI, chat GBT, anything on the face of this planet. The human brain has more processing power and capability than anything on the face of this planet that we are creating here today. We do not have access to 100% of our brain power. We know this. You have a subconscious mind. Keep up with me. You have a subconscious mind. Everything and anything you see in life is stored in your brain. From the moment you're born to the day that you die. As long as you have access to your senses, any of your senses, sight, smell, touch, taste, hearing, and even if you want to say your sixth sense, aka your biofield, you have 6 of them. Even if you lose one, the others tend to get heightened. Everything you experience in this reality is stored in your brain. And it never leaves. You could get brain trauma and lose access to one part of your brain. That information didn't go away. It got stored in the other part of your brain. You have your conscious brain, your conscious mind, where you're actively talking, you're actively speaking, you're actively thinking. And then you have your subconscious mind. Everything you are not currently paying attention to, everything is stored in your subconscious mind. You don't breathe consciously. Your heart and body breathe by yourself. You don't have to think about in, out, in, out, in, out. It just does it. You don't have to regulate your body temperature. Your body does that for you. 98% of what goes into keeping you alive is done automatically by your body. So again, when I hear motherfuckers online talk some shit about my mind controls this entire reality, everything is just a perception of my mind, shut the fuck up. You don't even control your own breathing. I don't want to hear it. So when somebody says they're an intuitive astrologer, that's not possible. You don't intuit astrology. You could have heard in a fucking crowd of people. You could have been outside in a very well populated area where 100 people were talking at once. To your conscious brain, it's all just a cacophony of noise. Your subconscious brain, your ears are picking up on every single conversation, dialect, tone of voice, tonality. It picks up on all of it. It just filters in what you consciously care about or not. You could have heard in a crowd of 100 people, one person mention something about the planet Mars meaning fire. The planet Mars being fire. And you could have seen anywhere throughout your life the symbol for masculine. You could have went to a public bathroom, better example. And you can tell in a public bathroom that the male symbol looks like that and the female symbol looks like that. You're not thinking about this at all. You're not consciously thinking about this. Keep that in mind. You're just using a bathroom. The first time in your life that you pull up a birth chart, you consciously are telling yourself, I have no idea what astrology is. I have nothing about astrology. When you see the symbol for the planet Mars, and you say to yourself, "Oh, that means masculine or fire." You didn't intuit that shit, or maybe you did. If you consider intuition what I just explained to you, that's intuition. But that's not what 99% of astrologers consider intuition. So we're not gonna run that shit. 99% of so-called astrologers consider intuition, it came to me out of nowhere. I just knew it. I just knew it. Nothing. I've never experienced this ever before in my life in any way, single shape or form. Yeah, you did. You weren't consciously aware of it. Yeah, you did. Your brain is very good at putting pieces together, whether you realize it or not. You know this. You don't need to speak in every single scenario to understand what's going on. Everybody knows what subliminals are. Everybody knows what happens when you walk into a room and you feel the vibe of the situation, whether it's a good vibe or a negative one. None of this shit is new. Your brain is very good at putting pieces together. This correlates with this, what correlates with that. This person, when your brain is good at correlating, when a person is mad, they usually get angry, they start moving a lot, and their face might turn red. So every time you see something red in your life, it means danger. It means halt. Or if you see a person wiling out, you're going to tell yourself, he's angry. You don't intuit shit. You've seen it somewhere before in your life. You have seen it somewhere before in your life. You don't intuit shit. You cannot intuit astrology. Astrology is a science that requires the observation and measurement of the celestial bodies in the heavens. I don't care if you're using the sun, the moon, the planets, or even some fixed stars in your system. Everything in the sky, everything in the sky follows one path. There's only one sky. Everybody knows when you look up, that means the sky. There's only one sky. And in that one sky is everything in the heavens. The path of the heavens goes in one direction, and one direction only. That means, therefore, every system of astrology, astronomy, Anything having to do with the cosmos, anything and everything having to do with the cosmos is based off the exact same measure. You may look at you may look at the sky from this angle. You may look at a specific thing in the sky over here. If you are not measuring or using some type of measure based on the sky, you're not an astrologer. You need to make a prediction based on a motion. What is a motion? I'll give you a motion that everybody knows about. It's called your birth chart. Your birthday is a motion. Your time of birth is a particular moment in the sky where the planets were aligned in a particular way. You don't intuit somebody's birthday. Again, your subconscious brain can do that. It don't mean it's fucking easy. You can't just pull anything out your subconscious and put it to the forefront of your mind. That's not how that shit works. That's not how that shit works. You can't just intuit somebody's birthday like that. Some things you cannot just pull out your subconscious mind. You have to consciously put yourself in a position to know, memorize, and get affiliated with. You can pull that shit off by guessing somebody's birthday once or twice every blue moon. Again, if you had that experience, I know you did. I believe you. You can't replicate that shit though. You can't run an astrology reading without knowing the person's birthday at the bare fucking minimum. Not possible. The only way you can figure that shit out is if you are already affiliated or associated with some astrological principles, which means you read some books before, you read some articles, you looked online, you spoke with some sort of professor or teacher that told you this shit, this specific thing is going to point to a Virgo. Virgos tend to have, or Sagittarians tend to have huge buttock muscles. This is what 99% of so-called astrologers do. You read something online, you hear somebody else's interpretation, and you just believe them. You read it online, you saw it in an article, your teacher told you about it, and you just ran with it. You just ran with it. You just want to start making readings. And oh yeah, the people agreed with your readings. Yeah, they're gonna agree. That don't mean you know shit about astrology though. That don't mean you know shit about actual astrology though. You took somebody else's interpretation. You took somebody else's word for it. You're not the astrologer. And for all you know, the person who taught you, they probably took somebody else's word for it too. Unless you actually know how to measure the motions of the planets yourself, you didn't do shit. You're an interpreter. At best, you are an interpreter. At best, you interpret you interpret other people's opinions on astrology. Because that is all that it is. An opinion. Because you wouldn't know the difference. Because you never went out your way to go look and test it. You didn't give a fuck to go figure out how they created a zodiac chart. You didn't give a fuck to go look how did the astrology website or software that you've been using all your life, how did they come to the conclusion to make the chart that way? How are they able to map out the planets the way that they do? Why do they use degrees, minutes of arc, seconds of arc? And for the few astrologers who may be watching, who's gonna say, I've been studying for 10, 20 years, I know this shit. No, the fuck you don't. You fucking memorized shit. You didn't put it into practice. You memorized that somebody told you the moon in this sign, in this deacon, meant this shit. You didn't actually fucking track the moon to the exact day and let that shit play out for you in real life. No, the fuck you didn't. You don't know how to draw a measure. Motherfucker, you don't even know how many minutes there are in a day. You don't know anything about celestial mechanics. You don't know anything about how the planets work and move in alignment. There are astrologers out there that can do that. There are astrologers out there who really know their shit, who are tropical and Vedic, who know their shit. But anytime you get into a discussion about my system is better than your system, that system is bullshit, my system is better, you don't know what the fuck you talking about, nigga. There is one fucking sky. Where the fuck did you look to get your reading? What the fuck is your system based off of then? What the fuck is your system based off of then? You looking at the ground? You going on the water? You going underneath the ocean? Aren't you looking at the fucking sky just like me? Where are the planets? Is the planet Mercury in my backyard? In Kentucky? Africa? Russia? I can go travel to the planet Mercury right now? Shut the fuck up. You memorize shit and you don't know how to put it into practice. I don't need to fucking memorize the keyword list. I know how to track the planets. I don't need to just memorize a degree, a minute of arc, a second of arc. I know what a degree equals to in terms of a year. I know what a degree, a minute of arc, a second of arc. I know how to do the fucking math. And I know my math is accurate because I can track that shit every single day, every single month, any motion, any planet in real life. All I do is wait for that day to come and see what the literal universe is showing me is going to mean that day. I calculate the day, I wait until that day comes, and I see if my prediction was correct. That's how you do astrology. Not read somebody's interpretation, somebody else's interpretation, give somebody a reading, and then your conclusion is that I'm a great astrologer because I memorized a bunch of fucking keywords. That's why I'm a great astrologer. I memorized some keywords. I followed my particular teacher's teachings to the core. This astrologer I fuck with, I followed him to the core. Learn as much actual astrology as you can. Learn as much actual fucking astrology as you can. And after you learn, go apply. Go apply. Because keywords change all the time. You're reading a book from 1968. It's not 1968, motherfucker. It's not 1968. I don't give a fuck what keywords that astrologer was using back then. New things come. There wasn't the iPhone in 1968. People weren't using that worldwide. Chat GBT and all this new shit coming out right here, right now, every new year. They wouldn't have keywords for that because they didn't even know what the fuck it is. If you know how to track and do the mathematics to measure the motion of the planets, you can confirm what that nakshatra chart is saying or meaning. You can confirm that Mars means fire when it's in the first house. And people will tell you, depending on their specific school, you're not supposed to read the chart this way. You're supposed to read the chart that way. Motherfucker, in your particular system, you don't do what I do. You don't do what I do. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you don't do what I do. You believe in what you believe, and anything else you hear, you automatically say it's bullshit, and you're not willing to test it out. Somebody can give you a step-by-step plan to follow, and they tell you, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will get the same results as me. Your ass won't even fucking try to do it. You just assume, oh, I've tried it already, or it must be bullshit. You're not a fucking scientist. You're not a fucking astrologer. What kind of astrologer is not happy, excited, ready to learn some new shit, to try some new shit? What astrologer isn't gonna jump at the fucking means? Isn't gonna try to jump at the fucking means to try to actually prove and or disprove if a methodology works? Vedic astrology works. You can get some complicated shit with Vedic astrology, but tropical works just as well. And you can get some crazy shit with tropical astrology. Let me tell you a difference right now. You know that anatomical astrology, astrology of the physical body, based on the ascendant, works better in the tropical system than it does with the Vedic system? If you have, if you pull up your chart in tropical and Vedic, let's say you have your, what am I going to say? Your Cancer in tropical and your Gemini in Vedic. Cancer in tropical, Gemini in Vedic. And let's say you have Mars in Aries versus Mars in Taurus. Mars rules the head and the face. Taurus rules the neck, the throat. Mars points to cuts, stabs, wounds, burns in that area. Taurus also rules the lower jaw. Look at your Vedic chart. Look at your tropical chart. Look where Mars is. Have you ever gotten any cuts, scrapes, bruises, burns, scars in the Aries part of your body in the Vedic chart, or the Taurus part of your body using the tropical? It's gonna pop up in the tropical. It's all one zodiac. Remember, there's only one sky, and every single last planet and star in the sky, in the heavens, follows the exact same path. Everything follows the exact same path. One sky, one ecliptic. But depending on where you're looking at it, some things will be more readily, easily apparent than others. Does that mean you can't figure it out using the Vedic method, anatomical astrology? You can. You're gonna have to develop an entirely different sub branch to figure that shit out, but you can figure it out. Same thing in tropical. In tropical, depending on what progression you use, you can't calculate events happening to the minute. Certain Vedic astrologers can. Does that mean with the tropical system, you will never be able to do that? Same thing I told you with Vedic. You're going to have to do enough research and testing to develop a system that could allow you to do it. It's going to take you a while, but it's possible. I compare it this way. Let's talk about the United States. Let's say tropical astrology is California, and you're trying to predict something to the minute. Let's say Vedic astrology is in New York. Vedic astrology, if you want to predict something to the minute, you may only have to drive 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. It's in your city. The tropical astrologer, you got to travel 3 hours, 4 hours. You got to do 4 hours worth of extra work to do that. But you're going to get there. Vice versa for Vedic. You want to figure out anatomical astrology? You want to get that shit right using anatomical astrology? You're going to have to take a plane trip over there. You're going to have to develop your own system. You have to do a subsystem to get over there. But you will figure it out. Why do I say you're going to figure it out? It's the same fucking sky. Same fundamentals. There are 360 degrees in the ecliptic. Why do I say 360 degrees? That's a circle. The sky turns in a circle. We know this because the stars that we see at one part of the year, once they disappear in a certain part of the year, the next time they come around to the same part of the year that we saw them last time, they're in the exact same fucking place. That means they went in a fucking circle. But you know how to get that off my chest? Because some people are fucking idiots who are going to bark at you that their one and only system is correct, even though they can't do what the fuck you do in any way, shape, form, or capacity. I'm going to provide you nothing but quality astrology. I'm going to provide you nothing but quality astrology. That's what I'm going to provide. That's what I'm going to continue to do. I am not the best astrologer in the world. It is impossible to be that. Well, there will only be one best astrologer for every century. And in every century, there's going to be one best astrologer of every... There's going to be one best astrologer in a specific decade. And then in that specific decade, there's going to be one best astrologer in that specific year. To that specific month, to that specific day. This is the study of the entirety of creation. This is the study of every little thing that goes on in the world, in this human in the not even the human experience, in this experience that we are having. You will never master it in one time. No one school of astrology is mastered in one lifetime. What do I recommend? Take from both. Have an idea in mind of what you want to solve for, what you want to figure out how to do. You want to figure out a day where you can travel the world, potentially make $1 million if it's in your chart. Finally finish learning how to read that book, pass that test. You want to figure out when a family member may die, what's going on with your siblings, when a potential storm, hurricane, or earthquake are coming to you. Anything. You can do it. But you got to look hard enough and you got to be willing to test. This is not a science that you can complete. This is a science that you cannot complete. This is not a science that you can master. You don't got to be an astrologer. You can be an excellent doctor. You can be an excellent surgeon. You can be an excellent lawyer. You can be an excellent all of these things. But guess what? All of these are practices. They are practices. Those sciences are ever growing. Why is astrology the one science where people say, you know what I know is all I need to know. I'm good. Anything else that doesn't come through my paradigm, I'm going to leave at the door. I wish they would just say, I'm going to leave it at the door. Anything that comes in my mind that I don't agree with, that I'm going to see, I have to speak on it. And automatically say their methodology is bullshit without testing it. Without asking them to show me proof so I can test it myself. Let's make the world a better place. Let's bring accurate astrology. Been Chris is here. If you like a reading, you know where to find me. I'm out.